Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Doan Andika Pratama, and I am a student majoring in English Literature Department, Faculty of Humanities, UIN Maulana Malik Ibrahim, Malang. So today I would like to present my research proposal entitled Traumatic Analysis Among Characters in Hear the Wind Sing by Haruki Murakami. This research is a psychological research which discusses the trauma between characters in the novel Hear the Wind Sing by Haruki Murakami. The concept of post-trauma stress disorder, or PTSD, is used in the study. This theory is used to determine whether there are traumatic symptoms in the narrative and dialogue in the novel. In the novel written by Haruki Murakami entitled Hear the Wind Sing, is a novel that presents various everyday stories of the character I, which is Haruki Murakami himself. In this novel, the character I, or narrator, meets other characters, and the traumatic experience is presented with flashbacks of the stories of the I character and the stories told by the characters to the I character. So we can analyze how trauma happened to the characters in the novel and what factors influence the occurrence of trauma. For the research questions, there are two research questions in the study. For the first is, what are the symptoms behind the trauma and its factors on the characters in the novel Hear the Wind Sing by Haruki Murakami? And the second is how the characters are encountered their trauma in the novel Hear the Wind Sing by Haruki Murakami. And there is also objectives of the study related to research questions. For the first is, this study aims at understanding the symptoms behind the trauma and its factors on the characters, and the second is, the study aims at understanding the characters encounter their trauma. The theory used in this study is psychological approach of post-traumatic stress disorder and Skinner's behaviorism psychology. For the research method, the data are in the forms of words, sentences, and dialogue among characters. The data source is the novel Hear the Wind Sing by Haruki Murakami, published in 1979. Also, there's the collecting data. The researcher read the novel over and over to get understanding for the plot and make notes of the narration dialogue among characters in the novel. For the data analysis, the researcher searched the data by categorizing the data that researcher noted before by looking for relation to psychological concept. After that, the researcher will analyze and interpret the valid data, focusing on the topic and concept of trauma theory. Also, there are 3 previous studies in this research, in this study. For the first is from a thesis entitled Peter's Childhood Trauma in John Steingarter's The Ringmaster's Daughter, written by Dayanara S2 Hapsari, SP, from Department of English Literature, Faculty of Humanities, Universitas Islam Negeri Maulana Malik Ibrahim Malang, in 2016. In her thesis, she analyzes the novel using 2 theories. There are unconscious theory by Sigmund Freud and trauma theory, or post-traumatic stress disorder. The second previous studies from the journal entitled Analisis Trauma Masa Lalu Tokoh Sari dalam novel Wanita Bersama Burung Merah, karya Intan Andaru, written by Ika Nurdayana and Eka Rini Saraswati from Indonesian Language and Literature Education Department, Faculty of Teacher Training and Education, Universitas Muhammadiyah Malang. In their thesis, they analyze the factors that cause the trauma experienced by the character Sari and her family. Therefore, this study uses a literary psychology approach with the perspective of Skinner's behaviorism psychology. The third previous studies of the thesis entitled Trauma pada Tokoh Holden Caulfield dalam novel The Catcher in the Rye, written by Amalia Kaskita from English Literature Department, Faculty of Literature, Universitas Komputer Indonesia Bandung, in 2020. In her thesis, she is analyzed using theory characterization to help analyze the subject comprehensively because analyzing the novel needs narrative aspects and trauma theory to examine the focus of the problems raised in the study. So those previous studies analyze the novel by using trauma theory. In here, the researcher combines two approaches from the two previous studies above, namely trauma theory and Skinner's behaviorism psychology. By combining these two theories, researchers hope that this analysis can prove these theories and we can know more about the signs of post-traumatic stress disorder. So that's all my presentation about my research proposal. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.